Welcome to the Senzing cookbook. I'm Nigel, and today we'll be creating a delicious dish with Kiro and the Senzing Kiro power. In this recipe, we're going to start by combining the National Provider Index of doctors with BrightQuery Open Data Cords, or collection of relatable data. We'll do that first, and then later we'll add to that the Office of Inspector General's list of excluded individuals and entities so that we can see which Las Vegas doctors have been sour. Just a few years ago, this would have taken probably a couple months or so to build manually. But today with the Senzing Kiro power and Kiro, we're going to build it in just a few hours. Let's get started. First, we'll need to add the Senzing Kiro power. So I've got Kiro opened here to a new folder or project, and you simply scroll down a little in the powers section and select Senzing, then install it and come back over here to the MCP view. You'll see it's got a green check mark. That means it's ready to go. The next thing we'll need to add is the AWS documentation MCP server. And this is where Kiro will consult to make sure it's building the proper CloudFormation stacks in AWS. So for that, you click this little pencil here. And in my clipboard, I've got the AWS documentation server. So I'll just paste that in, and we should have a green check mark here. Great. The first thing Kiro will do is generate a requirements doc. And after we approve this and go on to the next step, it's going to create a design and then a task list from that design. And once we ask it to execute the task list, it's going to build the CDK pipeline with all of the data ingest requirements. And the very last step will be to publish it to AWS. So we will preview our design here by Command-Shift-P. And here we could see a preview of the requirements of what it's going to build. The next step is it's going to create the design. So over here, we'll just tell Kiro to go, and it will build out the design. We'll come back in a second. Kiro has completed our design document. Let's take a look at what that shows. We're going to view this again in Markdown preview mode. Here you can see a high-level architecture, the CDK stack it's going to put together to invoke other AWS services, and call sequence diagram of how the components are chained together. Next, we're going to generate a task list from this. To do that, we simply ask Kiro to go, and it's going to start generating the tasks. Once the tasks are completed, we'll then work to deploy the CDK that it has created. While the tasks are being generated, I'd like to show you the instances here where Kiro reached out to the AWS Docs MCP server as well as the Senzing MCP server via the Senzing Kiro power. Great. Now that we have our full list of tasks, we're going to ask Kiro to go ahead and build the CDK, which is just a packaging mechanism for deploying stacks into AWS. We will use the prompt you see here, and be sure to specify that the IAM policies fall within the character limit. So we'll just click go. Great. Now we have a CDK that encapsulates all of the stacks for this solution, and we'll need to deploy it into AWS. For that, we will generate an IAM role that's going to be used to deploy the CDK, and it's going to leverage the IAM permissions template that's within the CDK. It knows which permissions this deploy role will need, and they're narrowly scoped to the prefix NPI-ER asterisk. You'll need to paste in your AWS account number into this prompt. So once the CDK is completely packaged, we'll simply ask Kiro, how do we deploy that into AWS? So I just said here, what's the command to deploy the CDK? It gives me these 3 commands. I've executed those, and we can see here in AWS that all of the stacks have been completely deployed. The next step will be to invoke our pipeline so that we can see the data being loaded into a RDS instance. And then we'll ask Senzing to run a data source summary report so we can see how many records were loaded into the system. So I've asked Kiro how to execute the pipeline, and I've executed these commands from a terminal, and we can check inside of AWS console and see the mapping state for both files is completed, and now it's currently loading the data into RDS. We'll check back on this in a minute, and if there are no errors, we're going to run the data source summary report. Okay, now we've got a clean run end-to-end. There was one addition I needed to add to the step function pipeline, and that's to initialize the database. This is where Senzing will register the data source IDs for each of the different files that's loaded into the system. So now that the export is done, we're going to run our summary report on that. And here I provided the command to do so. It wrote a little snapshot report Python script, and we're just going to execute that, and then we'll take a look at the results. Okay, our report is ready. Let's see what we've got. There's roughly 223,000 records that were loaded, which compressed down to 174,000 entities. You can also see the compression ratio within each data source here. So we started with 71,000 NPI providers, and we had a little bit of compression there. In the open data set, there's a little bit more. It looks like about 44,000 or so compressed down. The cross-source entity overlap shows us that there's 663 entities that exist between both data sets. You can see a distribution here of how many entities are just 1 record, and then which entities are 2 records. You got about 29,000 there. And between 3 and 5 records, we've got about 6,000 or so entities. Down here, you can see the top match keys. We have about 15,000 that matched on name, address, and geolocation. Then another 12,000 that matched on name, address, and so on. Let's take a closer look at some of these entities. For that, we'll use the entity browser. We're going to load in the resolved entities file. This is the file that represents the export of the Senzing instance at the tail end of the pipeline. So it's going to parse that. And here are entities. We can see the same information from the data source summary report. It's got about 174,000 entities that compressed down from 223,000 records. And we have 663 entities that overlap between the 2 data sets. We have Advanced Care Group LLC, and it's got all of these records in the open data dataset joined with one of these NPI providers. Here are some related entities to this one, and you can see the matched keys over here. Now, notice that there's a plus phone minus NPI number. That means that the phone number is the same, but the NPI number was different on this Community Health Resources Inc. entity. Now let's add a third data source to our pipeline. We're going to add the OIG exclusions list. Let's see how easily we can do that. I'm going to instruct Kiro to check with Senzing in terms of the mapping. And we'll let that rip. Now that the OIG file is properly mapped and validated by Senzing, it's added to the pipeline. You can see all of these steps succeeded, and now it's on the export stage. once this is done, we'll take a look at the new export file, which should have all three data sources in our entity browser. While the exclusions file finishes processing, we're going to borrow some spice from Claire's Kitchen and add a network graph to our entity browser. The prompt for that is right here. And we're going to, again, make sure that Kiro uses the Senzing MCP to properly implement this in our entity browser. Great. So it looks like our OIG exclusions are processed all the way through. Let's take a look at those entities in our entity browser. Let's take a look at our network graph. Here we can see there's a large network here, a guy named Victor C. Sutton. And a little bit further down, we have Everton's Place with also an interesting network. I've done some Google searching, and here we can see a Nevada case against Mr. Sutton, Victor Sutton, that involved medical fraud. And over here we can see Everton's Place also being indicted for medical fraud. Okay, hope you enjoyed this recipe, and we'll see you in the next one.